killed the market for, of course. So now this had killed the market for, of course.
I'm ready.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, watching me here on Black Fire Network. My name is INNOSSETU, and of course, Maria, she's coming. I'm not, of course, I'm going to be with Maria in this show. Let me hope you're doing good. Whatever you're doing, let me hope it's doing good outside there for whoever that is watching me on Black Fire Network. Yes, I welcome you all from that long weekend you had since last Thursday evening up to the morning when, of course, the weekend ended today, actually today morning. Let me hope you have been, of course, you have been doing good. Let me hope everything is moving on well. Yeah, today is a Monday, and of course, this is a new month. I welcome you all from actually in this new month. I welcome you all to this new month. And today is, of course, 2nd of September. Yeah, August is down now. October, September, October, November, December. We are remaining with like 3 months to end the year, apart from this particular one that we are in right about now. So, yeah, today's topic is about the Atalanta matters that happened between 1979 to 81. So our topic is about what to know about the Atalanta matters of the 1979 and 81. Yeah, very many people, of course, made documentaries, and a lot have spoken a lot about this, of course, incident that happened in Atlanta in the 1979, 1981. A lot of people have made actually, a lot of people have said a lot of journalists have made a lot of commentary about this, the particular incident that happened, of course, in Atlanta, where, of course, black, of course, kids were killed, of course, and of course, a lot of them were killed. So a lot of people have said their own words. The international police, the FBI, CIA staff, they have also come out with their own reports and investigations. The people that lived during that time, they also made their own, of course, assumptions of what really happened. For me, my own observation about the documentaries I've watched, about the articles I've read before coming here, there is a way this suspect, the serial killer actually, there is a way he's calm. There is a way he talks as if he's innocent about the incident that happened. So that brings a lot of questions. That where does this guy gets that confidence? So we know that the Atlanta murders of the 1979-81 sometimes are called Atlanta child murders, a series of murders committed in Atlanta, Georgia, between July 1979 and May, of course, 1981, over 2 year period. At least 28 children, adolescents, and adults were killed, where Wayne Williams, an Atlanta native who was 23-year-old by now at the time of the last murder, was arrested, tried, and of course convicted of the two of the adult murders and sentenced to, of course, consecutive life terms. Police subsequently have attributed, of course, a number of child murders to the Williams, although he has not been charged in any of those cases, and William himself maintains his innocence, notwithstanding the fact that the specific style of the manner of the killings, which was of course chokehold and of course strangulation, ceased at his arrest. So in March 2019, the Atlanta police, under the order of Mayor Keisha Lacey Bottoms, reopened the cases in hopes that the new technology will lead to the conviction of the murders that were never resolved as of May 2024. No results have been made public. In, of course, the timeline of the murders, we see that in the mid of the 1979, Edward Hope Smith, known as Teddy, 14th, and of course Alfred Evans, 13, disappeared 4 days apart. Their bodies were found in July 28th in the Wooden area. Smith, who was 22, of course, Smith, with a 22 caliber gunshot, of course, wounded his upper back. They were believed to be the first victims of the punitive and, of course, Atlanta child killer. Of course, in September the same year, we see that the next victim of 14-year-old Milton Harvey disappeared while on the errand to the bank for his mother. He was riding a bicycle, which was found a week later in the remote area of Atlanta. His body was not recovered until November of that year. And of course, in October, that was 21st, 9-year-old Yusuf Bell went to the store to buy Bruton snap for a neighbor. And of course, Eura, a bad song at, of course, the Risi Grocery on, of course, on MC Daniel Street. Um, a witness said she saw Yusuf near the intersection of the MC Daniel and Fulton getting into a blue car before he disappeared. His body was found on November 8th in the abandoned E.P. Johnson Elementary School by the senior janitor who was, of course, looking for a place to urinate. So Bellu's body was found clothed with brown cut-off shorts. He was last seen, of course, his last scene where he was last seen wearing. Though they had a piece of masking tape stuck to the immediate link, of course, his disappearance to the previous killings. And of course, in 1980, that was March, the first female victim, 12-year-old Angel Renaya, disappeared. Of course, she left house around 4 p.m. wearing a demeaning outfit, of course, and was last seen at the friend's house watching a television program, Sanford and Son. The nearest body was found 6 days later in a wooden vacant lot long, of course, Camp Belton Road, wearing the same clothes in which she had left home. A pair of white panties had not belonged to the Leniers, to Lenia, who were of course stuffed in her mouth, and her hands were bound with electrical cord. The cause of the death was, of course, strangulation. Of course, on March 11th, 1 week after Lenia's disappearance, a 11-year-old Jeffrey Mathis disappeared while on her errand for his mother. He was wearing gray jogging pants, brown shoes, and white and green shirt. Months later, a girl said she saw him getting into a blue car with a light-skinned man and a dark-skinned man. So the body of Jeffrey Mathis was found in a briar-covered patch of woodlands 11 months after he disappeared, by which time it was not possible to identify the cause of the death. So, and of course, on March 18th, a 15-year-old Elick Middlebrooks disappeared. He was last seen answering the telephone at home and then leaving a hurry on his bicycle, taking with him a hammer to repair the bicycle. His body was, of course, found, then living in, of course, was found the following day next to his bicycle in the rear garage of an Atlanta bar. The bar was located next door to what was then the Georgia Department of Offender Rehabilitation. His pockets were turned inside out, his chest and arms had slight stab wounds, and the cause of the death was determined to the blunt force trauma to the head. A few weeks before he disappeared, Middlebrooks had testified against three juveniles in a robbery case. And of course, on June 9th, this is another case, a 12-year-old Christopher Richardson went missing on his way to the local pool. He was last seen walking towards the then Cobb County Midway Recreation Center in the Midway Park. He was wearing blue shorts, a light blue shirt, and a blue tennis shoes. His body was not found until the following January, clothed in unfamiliar swim trunks, along with the body of a later victim, and of course, Al Trelly. The cause of Redison's death was not determined by the time. Howard G says, "Good morning, Africa." Good morning, Howard G. Good morning, Howard G. How are you, Howard G? How are you doing, Howard G? Let me hope your weekend was fine, Howard G. Let me hope your weekend was so clear and fine, Howard G. Let me hope, brother, your weekend was fine, Howard G. But I'm so doing good. I'm also doing good here, Howard G. Doing good, doing good, doing good. So, So this, of course, those are some of the incidents that, of course, happened in Atlanta. There's some still more. There is a 12-year-old that was Christopher Richardson who went missing. There was Latonya Wilson who disappeared. There was Aaron Wilchie who disappeared. Anthony Carter, 10-year-old Errol Trory, Cliff Jones, 13, Darren Glass, 10 years. Charles Stephens 12, and Aaron Jackson 9, Patrick Rogers 16, and many more. The murders, we were told that the murders continued of course, in 1981, where Gita's a friend, 15-year-old Terry Hugh, was killed by these people. A lot. Oh, it's disgusting. This guy killed. Anyway, allow me, guys, share this stuff so that uh, you can feel what I'm talking about right about now. Can feel what I'm talking about now.
Well, it's been called Atlanta's two-year nightmare, and for good reason.
Black children snatched from the streets, their bodies found along roads, in woods, and rivers.
Everyone was looking out for the Atlanta killer, the Atlanta murderer, the Atlanta monster.
Finally, police think they have their serial killer.
They stopped Wayne Williams, and the first words out of his mouth were, "I'll bet this is about those boys, isn't it?"
But decades later, with the case closed, doubts persist.
That may go down as one of the greatest miscarriages of justice in the history of this state.
Hello, I'm Bill Curtis. A city too busy to hate is an unofficial motto of Atlanta, Georgia. But between 1979 and 1981, this is nearly torn apart by fears of a race war. A killer, or killers, was targeting Atlanta's poor black children. It became one of the largest and most controversial murder investigations in the South, and led to a man believed to be one of the nation's first black serial killers. Not far from downtown Atlanta, in a poor neighborhood known as Mechanicsville, is the McDaniel Glen Public Housing Project. On the morning of October 21st, 1979, 9-year-old Yusuf Bell went on a quick shopping errand for a neighbor. He was seen across the street at a small grocery store. He never made it back.
If there's somebody out there like that that has him, I just wish they knew that somebody here loves him, that a whole lot of people love him, that this whole community loves him, and they want him back too.
2.5 weeks later, the boy was found dead. He had been strangled, his body stuffed into a crawl space under a classroom floor. To some Atlanta residents, the murder seemed to be part of a pattern. Over the past summer, the bodies of 2 other black children had been found in a wooded lot in East Point, just south. The two were around the same age. The skeletal remains of a 4th boy were found dumped among piles of rubbish near Atlanta Municipal Airport. 4 months passed. On March 11th, 1980, on the city's southwest side, Willie Mae Mathis sent her 10-year-old son Jeffrey to the corner gas station to buy some cigarettes.
He left out with $1, and he didn't come back in an hour, and I was mad and didn't come back. And I said, Jeffrey no better than this.
In the days that followed, police scoured the neighborhood, checking vacant buildings and nearby wooded areas. Jeffrey had vanished. 5 more black children went missing that spring. 2 bodies were recovered. All 11 cases of Atlanta's missing and murdered children remained a mystery. At the time, a sociologist named Bernard Headley was in Atlanta studying the city's high murder rate, then the worst in the U.S. His research took him to the poorest neighborhoods, where he found that black residents only wanted to talk about one thing: who was killing their children.
And residents were really alarmed that something dreadful is happening. They were arguing very forcefully from early that there was a pattern here. A pattern is that there are children and that they're being abducted.
But Atlanta police maintained that despite the appearance of a pattern, there was not enough evidence to link the crimes.
We would have a child reported missing. We find a body at a location other than where the killing took place, and thus we did not even have a crime scene.
There was a reluctance, I think, on the part of the police department from the beginning and all throughout at least the first half of this case to connect them up the way they probably should have been connected.
By July 1980, with 11 children either missing or murdered, rumors were spreading that the killings might be part of a racist plot. The black community grew frustrated with the response of police and City Hall. They felt Mayor Maynard Jackson wasn't doing enough.
You got a black administrator here, black, everything down here is black. And the only thing that Lee Brown and Jackson would say is no comment, so we'll not leave any stone unturned. That's all what they would say.
That summer, some mothers of murder victims, including Willie Mae Mathis and Camille Bell, formed a committee to put pressure on the Atlanta Police Department. Soon after, the city announced the creation of a homicide task force.
Those mothers really got that thing going. And it was about a week later when the Atlanta police assigned, I believe it was 5 detectives, just to look into this case.
In the following weeks, including 12-year-old Clifford Jones, he was found strangled behind a small shopping plaza next to a dumpster. For the first time, a full year after the murders began, police started telling the public that the crimes might all be related.
All of the cases involve young black people under the age of 15. The method under which they were killed in terms of the homicides involves some similarities. We have to look at the possibility that there may be some connection.
The children were all about the same age, size, and build. Many lived in the same poor Atlanta neighborhoods. Most were boys who earned money doing odd jobs or selling trinkets on the street corners. The city's task force was expanded. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation got involved. Still, investigators had no good suspects. September 1980. 11-year-old Darren Glass became the 14th child to vanish after stepping off a bus at an intersection. Frustrated and terrified, Atlanta's black community came together for weekly marches organized by the Southern Christian Leadership Conference.
We wanted to send a message to the authorities that they had to come to bring to bear all the resources at their command to solve these crimes.
In October 1980, the body of another child, a 10-year-old boy named Charles Stevens, was found dumped along a road. Acknowledging the public's anger over the unsolved murders, city officials urged unity.
We can't start pointing fingers as a community. What we have to do is recognize that we have a concern that impacts on all of our citizens.
Just 3 days later, an explosion ripped through a daycare center at the Bowen Homes public housing project. Word on the street was that the blast was part of a white supremacist war on the black community.
Black urban poor said, you don't want greater evidence than this, that there's a big connection here. There's a big universal conspiracy. The killing of our people in this daycare center is just the latest episode.
Downtown is your place. Downtown.
When the mayor arrived on the scene, an angry crowd gathered around him.
I know the frustration you feel. I feel the same frustration. Just a minute. Just a minute. That's the God's truth.
The community appeared on the verge of a full-scale revolt. As the killings continued, the FBI would send its newest breed of investigators to Atlanta, the profilers, who claimed they could create a psychological portrait of a killer and use it to predict his every move. In the fall of May, an explosion at a daycare center in Atlanta killed 4 black children and 1 teacher. With 15 children already missing or murdered over the past year, fear and anger were rampant in the city's black community.
Go out there and find out why it happened and what happened with it and who did it. That's what I want to find out.
Many were convinced that this most recent tragedy was racially motivated, but it wasn't. A faulty boiler had caused the blast.
Even when it became apparent that this was simply a boiler explosion, a mechanical malfunction, there were many people who still never believed it.
On October 18, 1980, volunteer groups launched a series of searches for 5 children still missing in wooded areas and empty lots of Atlanta. 2 hours first search was a discovery.
What have they found? We found a skull. Wait a minute.
The skeletal remains were identified as 7-year-old LaTanya Wilson, one of the 5. She had been missing for 4 months. By the fall of 1980, a reward fund in the case had grown to $100,000. In a remarkable display, Mayor Jackson laid out the cash and pleaded for citizen tips.
Here's $100,000, and it's all yours. $100,000. Do it for the children.
Boxing legend Muhammad Ali would later pledge another $400,000 to the reward fund. Hundreds of police officers were assigned to go door to door in search of information. They warned children to be aware.
Don't let me see any of your pictures like this. I don't want to see it.
The city also enlisted the help of so-called super cops. Some of the nation's top big city detectives came to Atlanta to lend their expertise. More significant aid came from the FBI and a new breed of criminal behavior experts called profilers. Special Agents Roy Hazelwood and John Douglas had pioneered the technique of constructing a psychological portrait of a killer.
Profiling is an investigative tool. It's designed to help the police focus their investigation in unsolved crimes of violence on a type of personality.
What I say is, I'm only offering you one little piece in the puzzle. I am not going to solve the case. You're going to solve the case.
The Atlanta child murders would be technique as part of their work. The profilers visited locations where the victims were last seen alive and places where the bodies were found.
What type of area did the offender feel comfortable in abducting the children from? What type of area did the offender feel comfortable in disposing of the children?
By early February 1981, 5 more children had disappeared, bringing the total to 20. By this point, the profile had come into focus. The FBI predicted the murders were the work of a serial killer. An intelligent young man desperate for attention, who was a con man who could... Contrary to fears of what is responsible, the profile killer was a black man.
We were probably dealing with a black male, someone that could move comfortably through that environment without attracting attention, and a white male certainly would have attracted a great amount of attention.
The profilers also expected the killer would have an obsession with the police.
A police buff who's living in this community may have a prior criminal history to include impersonation of a police officer.
Douglas and Hazelwood presented their findings to top Atlanta authorities.
There was a sigh of relief. And they were pleased to hear that it was not a white male in the sense that they were afraid that would ignite racial problems within the city.
Some officers on the street, however, had little faith in the new untested method of profiling.
The police said, hey, Douglas, saw your profile, it's a bunch of BS.
Not only was profiling a new technique for investigators, but so was the science of fiber analysis. Investigators were quietly collecting tiny bits of physical evidence, recovering fibers and hairs found on the victims. This trace evidence matched in several cases, solid evidence linking them to a single killer. In February 1981, after the murder of 12-year-old Patrick Baltazar, information about the hair and fiber evidence became public for the first time. The killer, it seemed, responded to the news by changing the way in which he disposed of bodies.
That information was leaked to the media. What happened immediately after that, we started finding nude bodies of kids in the river.
One way to certainly get rid of fibers would be to just throw the bodies in the river where presumably the fibers would all wash away.
We saw the killer responding. We knew this killer would not stop because at this point in time, he was really caught up in the media.
We all felt like we were being played by whoever this was. Somebody was obviously media savvy. Somebody was obviously watching us. And it was frightening.
On February 13th, 1981, in a wooded area, a search team found human remains.
They are skeletal remains of a human being. Appears to be that of a small child.
A year after her son disappeared, and nearly 2 years into the Atlanta child murders, Willie Mae Mathis got the dreaded news. The remains were identified as that of her 10-year-old son, Jeffrey. Cause of death, undetermined.
I still don't know anything about how he died, who's responsible, or what. I don't know anything.
By March, as the 21st victim was added to the list of missing and murdered black children, Atlanta's unfolding tragedy was making headlines around the world. Reporters and celebrities descended upon the city. Sammy Davis Jr. flew to Atlanta for a benefit concert with Frank Sinatra. The new president, Ronald Reagan, pledged $1.5 million in aid to the investigation. Vice President George Bush made a personal visit to Atlanta. Despite all the outside attention, 2 more children disappeared in early March 1981. Residents of one Atlanta housing project formed vigilante groups, armed with baseball bats and guns. So-called bat patrols got underway. Police moved in and broke them up.
They are killing little children and shit. You like, oh, no, man, it's wrong.
4 more young blacks were killed by the end of April 1981, bringing to 27 the number of missing and murdered in 2 years. For the first time, 2 of the victims were adults. Authorities suspected the adults were targeted because they were either childlike or short, such as 5'1" Jimmy Ray Payne. The 21-year-old Payne vanished after walking his girlfriend to this rapid transit station. 5 days later, the man's body was found in the Chattahoochee River, stripped to his underwear. 2 weeks after that, another male body was found in a wooded area. He was the 28th victim. 6 bodies had been recovered from rivers in and around Atlanta, so the FBI instituted an around-the-clock surveillance of area bridges. It was scheduled to run for 30 days. On the final night of the stakeouts, police finally got a break when an officer heard a splash. In the spring of 1981, authorities in Atlanta decided to stake out bridges throughout the city. Investigators looking into 28 murders and disappearances began the surveillance after several bodies turned up in rivers. They hoped to catch the killer getting rid of a body. On May 22nd, just before 3 a.m., a police recruit stationed on the bank of the Chattahoochee River was jolted by the sound of something hitting the water.
There was a very, very loud splash. He shined his flashlight on and saw concentric circles coming from where something had hit. And he looked up and he saw darkness only. There was nothing up above. Then suddenly he saw some lights come on.
He radioed to another recruit stationed above on the Jackson Parkway Bridge. The second recruit spotted a white station wagon near the center of the bridge, moving toward him. The car passed him by.
The car came to one end of the bridge and hastily turned around without stopping, and then made a U-turn and headed right back in the opposite direction. Strange maneuvers.
An FBI agent and a patrolman in unmarked cars followed the station wagon and pulled it over.
The person who was driving the car was Wayne Williams.
So the first words out of his mouth were, "I'll bet this is about those boys, isn't it?"
When questioned about what he was doing in the area, Williams said he was a talent scout who had an appointment later that morning with a singer named Cheryl Johnson. He claimed he was out making a, quote, trial run to find her address.
If you're going to meet somebody at 9 o'clock in the morning, why do you go out there at midnight to find her apartment? That didn't make any sense.
Police scanned the river but found nothing. They also searched Williams' car.
They saw a bag with rope and clothes in it and gloves, but the investigators made a real mistake. They let him go. And I was furious the next morning when I found out he had been released.
Williams was questioned, but there was no evidence, no body, so they had to let him go.
Later that evening, at his home, the neighbors reported that he was out in the backyard burning things in a barbecue pit, and that boxes of things were being loaded out into a car.
Williams' claim of trying to find Cheryl Johnson didn't pan out. Police found no one by that name in the area. 2 days later, the naked body of 27-year-old Nathaniel Cater was found floating in the Chattahoochee River about a mile downstream from the bridge where Wayne Williams was spotted. Cater was the sixth victim to end up in the Chattahoochee in less than 6 months. An autopsy showed neck trauma. Carpet fibers were found on the body. After 2 years, police finally had a suspect, Wayne Williams, but they weren't ready to arrest him yet. In June 1981, police obtained a warrant to search his home and car and seized materials that might contain fiber evidence.
There was multi-fibers from various sources of the Williams surrounding his automobile, the carpet fiber in his room, the throw rug, the bedspread.
The Georgia Crime Lab got to work comparing fibers found in the suspect's environment with those found on the victims. The FBI requested that Williams come in for an interview. He agreed.
We brought him in for questioning, failed a polygraph. Unfortunately, the fact that we brought him in got leaked to the media.
When word got out, reporters wanted to know if an arrest was near.
In terms of our efforts tonight, we have not ended up with the information that would result in an arrest.
Later that day, Wayne Williams held a news conference in his parents' home, where he lived. Reporters agreed not to show his face. He spoke about being questioned and announced he was the prime suspect.
They openly said, "You killed Nathaniel Cater, and you know it, and you're lying to us." They said that. One of the task force captains on the scene pointed his finger at me and said he was tired of all the BS about working the long hours, working the stakeouts, and that he was ready to pull the thing to an end.
The Wayne Williams press conference introduced to the public a man whose background was becoming well known to Atlanta officials. He was just as the FBI profilers had predicted, an intelligent individual with unfulfilled dreams who craved attention.
We felt very comfortable with Wayne Williams as a suspect in the case. He certainly fit the profile that we prepared.
Born in May 1958, Wayne Williams attended Atlanta's Anderson Park Elementary School and Frederick Douglass High School.
He was a very intelligent young man, and quiet, very respectful, honest student, very dependable, and just an ideal student.
Wayne Williams was extremely bright, the only child of two doting school teacher parents who was given just about everything he wanted. They mortgaged their house to build a little radio station for him in his basement.
The boy's radio operation brought him some local acclaim, but he never made good on his early promise. Instead, just out of high school at age 18, Wayne Williams was arrested for impersonating a police officer. Since many serial killers were police buffs, the profilers had speculated that Atlanta's killer would be one too. Williams seemed to be an astonishing match.
He had books on interview interrogation, on polygraph examinations.
After high school, Williams briefly attended Georgia State University, but dropped out. His 5-page resume was littered with more exaggerations than accomplishments. WRAZ Radio, for which he claimed to be news director, program director, vice president, and general manager, was the tiny radio operation he ran as a kid out of his basement. He also claimed to have worked on staff for Atlanta's WSB TV, but in fact only worked there briefly in 1979 as a freelance news cameraman. At the time, Jocelyn Dorsey was a reporter at WSB and worked closely with Williams.
He carefully selected his friends. He was not considered the friendliest person, but he was not difficult for me to get along with.
Williams normally worked the overnight beat. This footage of a pre-dawn fire shot by Wayne Williams aired on WSB in October 1978.
He seemed to like breaking news a lot. He had police radios in his car, and he liked to go out and cover breaking news, so he covered fires, homicides.
From there, Williams branched out into the music business, billing himself as a promoter and talent scout. He posted flyers in black neighborhoods, looking for young, aspiring singers and dancers. The profilers predicted.
Hello, Jib Jabba. How are you doing, Jib Jabba? How was your weekend? How are you doing today? Let me hope you're doing good, Jib Jabba. I'm also doing fine here. Uh, Jabba says that Williams was a patsy, in my opinion. There is, for me, actually, for me, actually, I've looked at this incident in a different way, different from what actually people have been actually from what has been published over time and from the documentaries that have been put down. For me, I have a different perception of whatever that was going on because from that time. Uh, from that time there is no actually we have not seen actually a farm. Yeah, Gipjeva says, oh, hey, I'm okay, I have the day off. That's great. He says, yeah, what's your opinion? From the day of actually from 1979, 1981, even up to 2024 today, they have not brought actually vivid evidence of actually of the investigations they have been doing over years. So that brings a question. Secondly, there is a documentary I watched. It was from CNN. One of the witnesses actually one of the witnesses that saw, of course, these kids being kidnapped, of course, by these people that killed them. However much Williams is the one that is on the spotlight, but they were like they saw two men. One was a black man, the other was a white man. So that brings a lot of confusion in investigations and how I look at things with Jabba, how I view the entire thing. If at all the eyewitnesses, and actually more than two eyewitnesses, were like, we saw a white man in the car and a black man in the car, actually where these kids were being carried on to where they were killed. So that brings a lot of questions in my mind. However much this guy is the known person, but have they arrested or have they actually got other people related to the same incidents here? He might be the one that killed all those people because of the reasons that are hidden. Yeah. Jimmy Jamba, discredited. There might be some further investigation about this incident, because an incident that ends up actually people being killed, like 10 people they are killed, 20 people they are killed, over 28 people to be killed in the incident. This is not a joke, because yes, Williams is in the spotlight, is the one that is, of course, is said to have killed all those people. They even said that after arresting him and putting him in jail, murders ended. Yes, all that is said. But if something is planned and there's something at the end, I watched a CNN documentary about this guy and about these Atlanta murders, Jibjaba. There is something that I looked at at this guy in the prison. When he was interviewed, the guy looked to be so relaxed about the incident. The guy looked to be so innocent about the incident, despite he could even smile. You know, killing 28 people, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. Like, however much you're the serial killer stuff, because according to history, Williams was actually a journalist who used to report to a certain radio. He was a journalist in Atlanta. He was a journalist. So it's not very easy. Like, we don't see other people. Like, we have not seen justifying investigation about this incident that happened. Why is it that there were black people? Is it because that in Atlanta we see black people are Jibjaba? I've never been to US, I've never been to Georgia. before. But does Atlanta has only black people? I'm sorry to say, I'm sorry to look at this stuff in this way. I'm sorry to look at this incident in this way. But I would like to know about this. I would like to know about this. Do we have like does Atlanta has black people only? Why is it that this why is it that the black community, the black kids and some two adults, why is it the target was on these people? Why is it that the target was on these people? However much was a black one, did this guy has had beef with the parents of these kids? Like we have not had justifying, of course, investigations about the entire incident. I'm not criticizing of course, what these people have come out with for a period of time. I don't criticize, but why we don't have justifying evidence, we don't have justifying investigations about this now that we have the machines that can, of course, that can do investigations better, much better than those days of the 1970s and 1980 and the early 1980s. Why is it that we can't come out with something that is that is so vivid? Jim says Atlanta was ahead of the Ku Klux Klan at the time in history. Ku Klux Klan. At the time in history. At times in history. Mm. The name of several historical and current American white supremacists, far righters, organization, hate groups. Oh, I guess. Okay, Jibjaba. Okay. Yes. Jibjaba still says that yes. Okay. That's the hate group that terrorizes black people. Okay. Okay. Yes, the city of Atlanta, the population is a majority of black and all black in the same neighborhoods. All right. Okay. 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 So, okay. Okay. That's the hate group that terrorizes black people. Dibjaba. Okay. 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 I get to understand. And it is actually the whites that supported these groups. And actually, there are also some questions that I still ask myself, Jib Jabba. Why is it that we see that this guy is still interviewed where he was jailed, he's still interviewed. And of course, in the jail, like they bring cameras, the guy looks so relaxed about what happened. He doesn't care about what happened. Like I'm like I'm like asking myself, why is it so? So if Atlanta has the majority black, and of course, if the majority are black and all black in the same neighborhood, so it can be the reason why they were killed. But why is it that it wasn't carried on? However much they are the majority, why is it that it wasn't carried on to the minority whites within Atlanta? Why is it that it was on black people? So there are a lot of questions about this incident. A lot of questions. A lot of questions. A lot of questions because there are no further, of course, investigations of the incident and, of course, many more. I'm seeing Maria. Maria, how are you? Maria?
I'm fine, thank you.
Mm. So, how was your weekend?
Mm, not bad.
It's great. Is it raining that side?
Oh, it rained at night, but now it's not. Probably it may start raining again in the late evening, I guess.
Jibjaba says he's a narcissist that was mind programmed by the government to take the fall allegedly. Jibjaba says, good day, Miss Maria.
Miss Africa. I
Miss
love that
Africa, sorry.
name. Don't mistake it for any other thing. Good day, Jiba Jabba. How are you? Oh, God. How are you? Hope you're doing good. Oh, I'm yawning. I'm seeing INNOSSETU doing something and I'm yawning.
Manyota busa.
Nze nange njala ennuma. Kyanga
Go
toli
kugira.
mu kulya atabukidde ku kamera.
Nga mbiseewo.
Put respect on my name. Jiba Jabba. I'll add Jiba Jabba 809. Yogera nze sikutegeera bino bambi. Tukulimba. Nagira oyogera. Olya ki?
Yogera naawe.
Sente zo Kithi yazikuwa. Kithi yakuwa sente zo.
Nali kugambye.
I know. Tekisobola kujja. Kijja kujja mu last hour. I was about the Atalanta, of course, the Atalanta murders of course 1979 to 81. I was it still has a lot of debates, and according when you look at the dates, this instances happened. Actually, the black people were still living in a struggle. It does not make sense, so it doesn't add up for like a fellow black person to be murdering young innocent children from fellow black people. I know the world has psychopaths, it has a lot of crazy people out there, but if you look at these particular years, there was a lot that was going on between of course the black people and the white people in the United States of America. And Atalanta itself, now Atalanta is a state that comprises almost of the biggest percentage being black people. Let me say it is a black people zone. I'll call it that way. Though it has some other bazungus in it, but it has a big population of other whites. Actually, yeah, Jiba says that it was a scary time, that period. True, true. Um, actually, only the poor neighborhoods were affected by these abductions. You see, Jibjaba says only the poor neighborhoods were affected by these abductions. There are still a lot of, I still have a lot of reasons why I don't believe that this was something done by this 28-year, of course, this 28-year-old, a black man who was actually found guilty and, of course, sentenced. And we have seen a lot of movies from this particular story. There are movies. There is a series there are TV series that, of course, were acted in response to this event, and because it was a terrifying moment, I guess, for the Black people within the Atlanta Black community. And like Jibjaba says, it was the poor neighborhoods that were affected by the abductions. Um, there are still some questions that are behind. There are still some questions. A lot of Black people are not satisfied with this 28 years old man who was found guilty of this crime. They believe that he was forced to plead guilty for having committed these crimes, because a lot of Black people think that there is no reason whatsoever for him to have done a lot of the things. It was a preteen then, it was all over the news every night for months. Wow. Wow. I can only imagine bana kunta a good day chigwa chiri babata menyese kanzije.
So we see that of course actually, like Maria said, that there are a lot of unanswered questions that continue to haunt, of course, the community. And of course, we see that Wayne Williams was convicted for the murder of two adults and is serving a life sentence. However, he was never tried for the child murders, and many believe there is insufficient evidence to conclusively link him to all the crime murders. Now, if I told this guy, if I told this guy, says get him caught. If I told if I told this guy actually he was the guy actually was linked to only two murders, the murders of the adults. Now, who killed the kids? Now that question still actually, it's still actually it is still actually it is still in people's minds. That question it still confuses people. If at all Williams was of course sentenced to the life sentence. Now, who murdered the kids? Because he was accused of killing the two people. He was accused of killing two people. So who killed the kids? If Deba, you can help me out. Who killed the kids? Now, the unresolved cases out of the 28 known victims, several cases, of course, remain unresolved. This has led to ongoing speculations and calls for investigations over time. The DNA evidence, we see that advances in DNA technology have promoted calls to re-examine evidence from the cases. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms announced in 2019, we know that unexamined evidence was of course would be reviewed, but now new conclusions have not been reached yet. So, and we see that the case has been a subject of numerous documentaries and, of course, podcasts such as Atlanta Monster, which explore the inconsistencies and unanswered questions surrounding the murders parents of these kids have uh, organ harvesters or sacrifices. Can even be through Jibjaba. Now, how will parents of these kids that were murdered in the incidents actually have actually peace in their hearts, peace in their minds, peace? How do they have peace of mind if at all they don't know? Actually, they don't know a final conclusion of what happened in those murders. We have seen things where the CIA, where the FBI and other, of course, intelligences are coming out with the conclusion within the shortest time about things that are, of course, that happen on whites and stuff. Why is it that this thing that has lasted for a long time, they are not coming out with a conclusion? Byron Scott says that the United States government was behind those killings in Atlanta and killings all over the world. And killings all over the world. That is from Byron. Is on YouTube.
Which I agree with him to a certain percentage.
You'll be done.
Back. Anyway, it is still a tragedy story. Though I only watched that in a series, and it was so painful to know that this was based on a true story. But we know that even though there are some numbers that have been said, there are some numbers that were, of course, mentioned, but the number of the children who were murdered is still not, they have still not come to a final conclusion of the real numbers of the children who were murdered. And we know that most of these children were male children. Jib Jabba says that maybe they were doing this for sacrifice, people who do human sacrifices, or it was for organ trafficking and a lot of other things. And of course, I do agree with Scott. Um, we have seen a lot of killings. This was, of course, in 1979 to 81, but we've seen some similar killings, though different years in Africa, where a lot of children have been killed. But unfortunately, this time around, it was for the ignorance of some parents, where some children were targeted and killed by vaccine and a lot of that. We have seen things that happen, and things are being done, and people don't know these are things that are targeting to murder a certain set of people in the world. So I do agree with Byron Scott, because I know if you look at the years 1979 to 1979, 81, and these other years that are behind 90, there were very many programs actually that a lot of Black Americans were not accepting, and some of them were not contented with that discrimination, that they questioned apparently a lot of our programs. If you still look at this same year, you realize there was a lot of empowerment within. People were trying to empower Black women and the Black people within different states. There was a game that was actually going on, and usually it is always a painful reflection for you only to find out that whoever is causing you pain is someone of your same skin, is someone of your same race, is someone you would trust if at all you are to meet the person down the road. um Jib Jabba says that AIDS was popping up big time in 79 to 82 years. This I'm saying, this particular years had a lot that was going on, really, not only in the United States of America, but in Africa as well. So I put a huge question mark to whether it is true that Wayne Williams murdered these children, though he wasn't directly caught. because he murdered two, I guess. So they had to put all the blame on him just to hide everything because everyone was questioning this incident. So they needed someone to be pinned for this. All right. So I'm also among the people who are still questioning this. Yeah, it is something that is sad. I'm sorry. And more especially to those who are directly affected by this incident. Probably I don't have a right to be questioning the judgment or the thing or the things that happened at that time. But we know we have the mandate to, because given the circumstances and the things that Black people have been going through, why shouldn't we question this incident in particular? Really, um, those children were killed and abducted because they had a certain genetic profile that the government was interested in. This is a comment from Byron's court. Byron's court says that those children were killed and abducted because they had a certain genetic profile that the government was interested in. All right. Jib Jabba says, well, Maria, the murderers stopped when he was caught. The murders, okay, the murders stopped when he was caught. That's the cover-up line used. That's what, of course, Jiba Jabba adds on. Of course, we know very well that I know this is it is sad, but again, it is at the back of my mind. I'm thinking at how these people, how most of these, the Bazungus think that the African or the Black person mind works. They think it's so easy to play around with everyone, for them to do whatever it is they want to do and go scot-free or untouched or unquestioned. We have seen a lot of incidences where at the end of the day it is okay. We saw the bombings during those days where we had different movements where Black people in the United States of America, of course, um, decided to have rebellious movements, or I call them rebellious movements, that were rebelling against the conduct of the Bazungus towards the Black people in the United States. They were trying to fight the injustices. So different movements, which I know you guys know. You remember there are incidences where we saw bombings in churches, and these bombings were actually pinned on Black people that they bombed. And remember, most of the people, and you remember that time we had a lot of religious, a lot of Black people were getting into church, mosques. We had religious influence within the Black people, and so a lot of people started breaking away from these movements. You can't be killing people in church, you can't be doing shit in church, you can't be killing people who are worshiping the Lord and all stuff. They knew how to play this game, because it wasn't the Black people who actually bombed people at the church, but they had to make it seem. And we saw a lot. This is not something that was identified, but it also played a big role in, of course, in breaking these movements that were formed by the Black people. All right. So a lot of people were in disagreement of these acts. A lot of people are disagreed. So there is a lot. There is always too much matrix with a lot of things that happen within the Black community. All right. Yes, Brian, this was much larger than him. He was a smoke screen. He was the fall guy. Yeah. And through social services, they get the kids' DNA. Of course, those were comments from Jiba Jaba in Byron's court. Byron's court too agrees that of course, he was the fall guy, and Jib Jabba says that the incident was much larger than him. He couldn't have done all that alone, and of course, which is which I still do agree with. For those watching, you can still drop in your comments and tell us what you think about the Atlanta murders of 1979 to 81, of course, which happened in Atlanta. Oh, at that time, INNOSSETU wakuchogerako.
The killer would be a con man whose activities regularly brought him into contacts with children.
The offender was able to manipulate children and young people into very dangerous scenarios without those children being alarmed. Williams was certainly the type of personality that we would expect to find in this type of crime.
In June 1981, while investigators checked his background, Williams was put under 24-hour surveillance. By then, it seemed the whole world was watching, with police and reporters camped outside his parents' door.
A 3-week public stakeout. You got police officers in plain clothes with unmarked cars sitting in lawn chairs across from this guy's house where they could be seen in plain daylight, and a horde of us standing behind them taking pictures.
Circus-like is probably not adequate to describe what was happening. The media attention was pervasive. He lived with his parents. Their privacy was just totally invaded.
Williams began taunting police, leading them on wild goose chases throughout the city. At other times, the suspect appeared irritated with the reporters, who were always outside his parents' home.
All right, everybody on this property are pressing against you two criminal trespass.
A month after Williams was stopped near the bridge, the DA's office decided it had enough evidence to make an arrest. Detectives took 23-year-old Wayne Williams into custody, drove him to the Fulton County Jail, and had him booked for the murder of Nathaniel Cater.
We all sighed a heave of relief. Now let's get down to business. Let's put up or shut up and see if they got their man.
In preparation for the trial, prosecutors consulted some of the most renowned fiber experts in the world. The experts all agreed the fiber evidence against Wayne Williams was among the best they had ever seen. In court, another factor would prove even more persuasive: testimony from the defendant himself. In June 1981, Wayne Bertram Williams was arrested and jailed in connection with 29 abductions and murders in Atlanta over a 2-year period. Most of the victims were black boys. 6 were young adults. Williams' family hired former city solicitor Mary Welcome to lead the defense team.
Wayne is doing as well as can be expected under the circumstances. We stand before the court innocent.
As soon as 23-year-old Williams was in custody, the black community's fears of a race war dissipated.
When Wayne was arrested, I think that was such a relief that people didn't care what color he was. People were saying if they're black, blue, green, white, or polka dot, throw away the key.
Wayne Williams was ordered held without bond. In July, a grand jury indicted him for 2 of the more than 20 murders of which he was suspected: 27-year-old Nathaniel Cater and 21-year-old Jimmy Ray Payne. Both of their bodies had turned up in the Chattahoochee River. The judge denied a request by defense to try the 2 cases separately. Attorney Mary Welcome had just 6 months to counter the tremendous amount of evidence amassed by the state.
We were blindsided. To have prepared for a defense in that period of time was just impossible.
In January, the state's case hinged mostly on fiber evidence and witness testimony that linked Williams to the victims. The prosecution played part of the news conference the defendant held 7 months earlier, in which he told reporters he didn't know any of the murder victims.
No associates, no family?
None.
Those comments contradicted witnesses who testified they saw Williams with Cater and Payne, as well as other victims. Crucial to the prosecution case was a ruling from the judge that allowed the state to introduce evidence linking Williams with the deaths of 10 others, crimes for which he had not yet been charged.
There was a pattern. There was something going on here, and cases were part of this. There was a serial killer at work.
Proof of that pattern, the state argued, came from microscopic fibers. Using such fiber evidence to prosecute a case was fairly new.
Up until that time, fiber evidence had played only a minor role in any case, and here we had a pattern homicide which involved fiber in all of the cases.
The state's star fiber witness was Larry Peterson of the Georgia State Crime Lab. Peterson analyzed the fibers and hair taken from the bodies of the victims and compared them to samples taken from the defendant's home and car.
I am as certain as I sit here today of the strength of those matches and associations, and that those victims essentially had to have been in Williams' environment shortly before they were killed.
The crime lab identified some especially unique fibers on 10 of the murder victims.
One of the fibers involved was just as rare as a fiber could be, and still be a man-made fiber.
The distinctive fibers were traced to carpeting manufactured by a small company in South Carolina. Just over 1,500 square yards of the carpeting were sold in the Southeast.
And when they searched the Williams home in June of 1981, they found a house full of carpeting made of that fiber.
Defense attorneys argued that the state was relying too heavily on the fiber evidence.
They had no direct evidence. I know that circumstantial evidence does carry some weight, but when it's all circumstantial and inference and innuendo, I think that the system becomes flawed.
Near the end of the trial, the state introduced evidence of a motive for Williams to have targeted black youths and young adults. Several witnesses testified that the defendant often spoke with contempt for poor black children.
He considered young black kids, streetwise kids, as dragging down his race. He held hostility for those people.
Wayne Williams was actually a racist against his own kind. That was the prosecution's depiction of him, that he was perhaps ashamed of certain elements of his own race and was out to exterminate them.
Absolutely untrue, argued the defense, which presented several character witnesses who said they never heard Williams talk in a derogatory manner about fellow blacks. They described him as a hard worker who liked helping people.
Wayne did not fit the pattern of, quote, the serial killer. He's maybe a little different, but he's a nice person.
On February 13th, 1982, the judge allowed the jury to visit the Jackson Parkway Bridge, where prosecutors said Williams disposed of the bodies of Nathaniel Cater and Jimmy Ray Payne. The defense hoped to show how difficult it would have been for 5'7" Williams to throw bodies over the side.
Wayne was a short, pudgy young man. He was not physical. He was not strong.
But there were people who knew Wayne who said that he was a lot stronger than he looked, that he could get you in a fierce headlock, and that he had one heck of a temper.
Prosecution witnesses had described seeing deep scratches on the defendant's arms.
The scratches on his arm showed clearly that these were some children struggling for life and inflicted serious harm on him, which he has never been able to successfully defend, really, or to counter.
With his defense struggling, Williams decided to take the stand against his lawyer's advice.
I think he thought that he could convince people that I just didn't do it.
Based on his personality, the FBI profilers had expected him to testify and advised prosecutors that if they kept him on the stand long enough, he would lose his temper.
Wayne Williams was psychopathic and narcissistic, very self-centered, and we know from experience that those types of individuals are very, very good in the short run, but they're not very good over extended periods of time with consistent pressure applied.
Williams held his composure under questioning from one of his own lawyers. But during 2 days of intense cross-examination, that calm demeanor cracked.
His frustration erupted. He suddenly blew up and started calling us names, stood up, so you want the real Wayne Williams, you got him, and all this kind of stuff.
And he came out doing battle. He changed, he became another personality, combative, and so forth.
Calling the FBI goons and the prosecutor a fool, Williams said the state had no proof of anything, just supposition and hearsay. In closing, the defense claimed the state was trying Wayne Williams on only a thimbleful of fibers. The prosecution countered that the fiber evidence was so significant it amounted to a cincher. The state also contended that Wayne Williams was a pathological liar. They compared him to Adolf Hitler or Idi Amin, someone who wanted to do away with his perceived inferiors. After deliberating 12 hours, the jury found Wayne Williams guilty of the murders of Nathaniel Cater and Jimmy Ray Payne. Jurors later said they were persuaded by the defendant's behavior on the stand.
He was his own worst enemy. Forget the fibers, that didn't mean a hill of beans to them. What convinced the 5 jurors I talked to was Wayne Williams. He came across as a liar.
Wayne Williams was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms in prison. Prosecutors insisted that his guilt was underscored by the fact that the killings stopped after he was taken into custody. But over the years, doubts have remained about whether Williams was the right man. In February 1982, it appeared the final chapter in Atlanta's 2-year nightmare was over. 23-year-old Wayne Williams was found guilty of murder and eventually sent to Valdosta State Prison to serve 2 consecutive life sentences. His parents said the trial was unfair.
If there's a such thing as a reasonable doubt, evidently the jury couldn't understand that.
Even the parents of some of the victims thought the wrong man had been sent away.
Since I don't believe that Wayne Williams killed anybody, I can't believe that Wayne Williams therefore killed my son.
In the years since, Williams has stuck to his story that he did not commit any of the Atlanta child murders.
My conscience doesn't bother me like a lot of these inmates you talk to here in this institution. A lot of them have nightmares about what they did. Wayne Williams didn't kill anybody. He didn't hurt anybody. I sleep good.
Williams and his supporters have always claimed that he was a convenient scapegoat for authorities who were under intense pressure to solve the murders. Following the verdict, authorities shut down the task force and closed the books on 23 cases on Atlanta's list of missing and murdered. They said Williams was not tried for all those murders because of the cost to Georgia taxpayers, but questions lingered. As Williams appealed the verdict, he and his lawyers argued that the prosecution's case, including its key fiber evidence, was simply wrong, and that there never was a single killer operating in Atlanta.
From what we know, you had several groups of unrelated killings that happened at the same time. Some of them involved certain race hate groups that we know about.
The argument that the killings might have been race-related was at the center of Williams' request for a new trial in 1991. His defense team now included famed civil rights lawyer William Kunstler. They came to Georgia Superior Court with an explosive allegation that some of the black children whose murders were linked to Wayne Williams were really killed by a member of the Ku Klux Klan. The defense presented a witness named Billy Joe Whitaker. Whitaker claimed that the Klan member, Charles Sanders, had confessed to him that he killed one of the boys whose death was attributed to Williams, a 14-year-old named Luby Jeter.
I believe Charles Sanders, the Ku Klux Klan, killed this one kid named Jeter.
According to Whitaker, Sanders threatened that the Klan would kill a black child every month until, quote, things blew up. Williams' defense team got wind of this Klan allegation after a file was leaked from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, or GBI. The file described leads that were developed by agents early in their investigation.
In the file, there's a line saying, "We're afraid of a race war." That's why it was kept secret.
The defense claimed information in the GBI file might have helped Williams at trial, and that the prosecution unfairly suppressed it. But the prosecution said it didn't even know about the Klan investigation until after Williams was convicted. The GBI said it never passed along the information to the prosecution team because its investigation of the Klan never panned out.
It wasn't information that really could show somebody else did it. It could simply show somebody else was looked at. And the evidence was they didn't do it. And it's like that's not admissible at trial.
They had good reason to investigate these Klansmen, but they tailed them for 8 weeks, day and night, tapped their phones, and there's no proof whatsoever, according to that file, that those Klansmen killed any of these kids.
The Superior Court judge upheld Williams' conviction. Over the years, Willie Mae Mathis, mother of murder victim Jeffrey Mathis, has changed her mind about Wayne Williams. She now believes Wayne Williams was wrongly convicted and wants to see the investigation reopened.
I wish that he would be free, set free. Really and truly, I do.
Mrs. Mathis is not alone. Even a few investigators from the Atlanta Homicide Task Force have doubts about Williams' guilt.
I quite frankly don't think that Wayne Williams committed one murder.
Sidney Dorsey was a task force detective who later became sheriff of DeKalb County, Georgia. Dorsey investigated the case of 12-year-old Clifford Jones, whose body was found in August 1980, next to a dumpster behind a laundromat. After Williams was convicted, the Jones case, like the others, was closed. Prosecutors said fiber evidence clearly linked Williams to this murder. But Dorsey says in his investigation, Williams never emerged as a suspect.
There was certainly no evidence that Wayne Williams was ever in the area, no evidence that he was around the dumpster, no evidence that he was ever around Clifford Jones.
Dorsey interviewed a witness who claimed he saw another man attacking the boy in the laundromat.
I thought that his statement was believable. The perception that Wayne Williams had committed this crime, to me, was a miscarriage of justice.
The importance of the Clifford Jones case is that if you can prove that Wayne Williams didn't kill Clifford Jones, your entire house of fibers collapses because it matches the pattern.
But prosecutors say the witness in the Clifford Jones case was mentally disabled and therefore unreliable. Since being sent to prison, Williams says his notoriety has decreased considerably.
I keep a pretty low profile around here, so it doesn't bother me. They know me as just plain old Wayne.
Reporter Mark Winnie interviewed Williams in prison in 1995.
Some of the most compelling stuff that Wayne Williams told us dealt with his own acknowledgement that his behavior as a suspect hurt him.
This is not the same Wayne Williams people saw running around in the street making fun of the police. Not at all. This is a mature person who can look back and say in hindsight, you know, Wayne, you were an idiot back then.
While Wayne Williams holds out hope for a new chance at freedom, the debate goes on about whether the real Atlanta child killer is behind bars.
I think these kids are crying out to the grave right now as we speak, saying, hey, I want someone to avenge my death.
I don't believe Wayne Williams killed all those kids, but I think the evidence is too strong for me to say that he's innocent.
The case against William, though circumstantial, was a very strong circumstantial case.
All the combinations put together painted such a clear picture that there couldn't be anybody else.
The questions that have dogged this case for decades are unlikely to fade anytime soon, as Wayne Williams keeps fighting for a new day in court.
Good afternoon there, Seto. You have no sound, Seto. Is it me? Can you hear me, Seto? I don't hear you. Are you on mute or something?
Hello, King.
There you go. All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're on mute. I like to say, is it me? Am I all fucked up still? Being sick? Am I the one all fucked up? Yeah, Give a Jabba sent you some money, Seto, so I'll have to send it as soon as I get a chance to send you that money. the jibber jabber has sent to you. I was sick this weekend. Well, really since Thursday, Friday. So it went through to the bank on Thursday night. So Friday, really Friday morning. So I'll send it to you as soon as I get a chance to send it to you. Jibber, send you some money.
Okay.
Uh, we made you interested in the Atlanta. I don't think he did it. We made you interested in the Atlanta child murders setup.
Like this guy actually, Wayne William actually, who is the prime suspect of the actually of these murders, according to different people, actually, including those people that imprisoned him. At the end of the documentary that we have been, of course, sharing here, they have a different perception of actually, they have
Of
a
course,
different feeling.
because
A
yeah,
different,
because it's white nonsense. Because Brandon, you see, none of the parents believe he did it. They know it was white supremacists running around Atlanta at the time killing black people. They weren't going to prosecute the white people that would kill them. So they found a fall guy who was also a moron and kind of stupid and was kind of simple minded that they could use, and they can go crazy on the stand. Look, it's him. He is the killer and all that kind of shit. When no, he's too stupid to be the murderer. It's like an OJ type deal, right? So white America found their puppet, and we know those white people running around Atlanta at that time killing those people, killing those children. It just didn't add up. There's too many places at one time he couldn't have been there. It just didn't add up. But they wanted to use him as the fall guy, said so. They wanted to wrap this up and put a black face on it. They didn't want to say it's a white people out here killing all these black kids, which most likely it was. They know it was. White people always put black faces on shit, notorious shit that they're doing. So he was mostly railroad to a life sentence like they do all black people and kept there. That's why the investigations all stopped. Yeah, we got the man. That's it. No more investigation. So, that's why none of the parents knew instinctively this man didn't kill their children. They knew this was bullshit. Being black in America, they knew how white people railroad the judicial system. How this is some bullshit. They knew that, and this is some bullshit. This man ain't killed no. If this man ain't killed my babies, he ain't killed the rest of these babies. White people, shut up, you niggas. That's who we say did it. He did it. This nigga did it. Damn right. Now move on. What? So that's what happened. I don't believe he did it. It's not too much evidence to prove that he didn't do it. He might have been a nut. He might have been somewhat of a psychopath. Seto. They knew his personality. That's why they set him up, because they can make him look crazy. They already get his personality. They already psyche valved his ass. Yeah, we can use his ass. He's a loose cannon and shit. We can use him and frame him to be the killer. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll frame this nigga right here. And since we control everything, that is what it is. When we say shit is what it is, that's what it is. So I don't think he killed no. He might have been a nut, Seto, but I don't think he was a murderer. That's why and even the parents didn't think that. Parents can instinctively feel if somebody's guilty, somebody murdered their children, and the parents didn't feel that one iota. So, nah, they didn't believe that shit. They didn't believe that bullshit. They didn't believe that bullshit either, Seto. But they
And
don't.
for years they have failed to come with a final conclusion of what happened.
Nah, they said the final conclusion. He did it. That's it. Nothing else to see. You niggas. He said he did it. and you niggas go away. That's the final conclusion, Seto. He said he did it, and you niggas go away. That's the final conclusion. Okay? He did it, and you niggas go away. Okay? That's what we're telling you, Seto. He did it, and you niggas go away. That's all you need to know. Yeah. We're not gonna take no more questions on it. So it's over.
And some sources say that actually some of actually the unanswered question, of course, that have been made, some of the questions that have not been answered for years. It's like this guy was, of course, was jailed for killing the two adults, not the kids. Now the question is, who killed the kids?
Exactly. Exactly. You don't worry about that. Those are niggas and they're dead. So don't worry about that shit though. Those those are nigga babies. Doesn't matter.
It matters.
Those are nigga. Oh, check your. I know. Maria's there. Hey, check your phone, Maria. I sent you your pay. It doesn't matter. You're no good nigga. You need to know that.
Oh,
Those are
thank you.
those are nigga babies. You need to know that. And what nigga babies get is no justice. Okay? You need to know that. Niggas babies get no justice. Okay? Now you need to learn that worldwide. That African people get no justice worldwide. We live in a system of white supremacy, and that's how it is. And so, like the parents said, we don't think he killed our babies. Niggas, did we ask you? We told you he did, and that's it. So, we white. We told you what we told you. That's what we told you. Okay? That's the verdict. That's what it is. Now you niggas now go away. But I lost my baby. I like to have justice. You niggas go away. So that's what happened. Nothing was ever done. The parents were told to go away. And that's what happened. Ooh-wee. Man, I feel a little better. I was sick like shit this weekend. Boy, still a little sick, but not as bad as I was. At least I could talk. I couldn't even talk Friday and Saturday. Shit. I was fucked up. I think somebody gave me some of Santos and Maria's fucking ants and damn grasshoppers. Like shit. Shit had me fucked. Shit had me fucked up.
Are they in a pizza? Oh, boy.
Shit. I said somebody put some grasshoppers and ant in my real food. God damn, I'm fucked up. Who did this? What dastardly bastard did this? I'm fucked up. I don't never get sick. I ain't been sick in 10 years. I was out there, boy. I was so. Joby see me. Joby say, Key, you look fucked up. You go to the hospital. So now I gotta make it back home first. I'm alone. I gotta sweat all this shit out. I'm fucked up though. That's true. You look. Joby talking about. Wow, Keith, you look fucked up. Thank you for pointing out the obvious. Your crazy ass. I know I look fucked up because I am fucked up. Shit. Keep pointing out the obvious like I don't know I look fucked up.
What
You know, you know. I told her, crazy ass, thank you for pointing out the obvious. I know I look fucked up, Joby. I don't need you to tell me. I know I look fucked up because I'm fucked up. Mm-mm-mm. Woo! I was in a house in a whole bunch of blankets, butt ass naked, sweating all that shit out. Uh, how was you guys' weekend? Hopefully it's better than mine. Hopefully it wasn't butt naked, sweating under a bunch of blankets. Hopefully you guys' weekend was better than mine.
I've had a very busy weekend.
Okay, what were you doing?
Was in the farm.
Okay, no, you on the farm. Okay, were you harvesting or still planting?
I was trying to transplant some. I was trying to transplant some crops to the main garden.
Okay, how'd it go?
So I made a bed.
Did it work? Were you all fucked up?
Yeah, it worked. It worked. What fucked you up? What happened?
I don't know. I try not to eat hamburgers and meat when I'm out about, so I stopped. I stopped and I went over to Burger King. I said I better stop eating all this chicken. There was a Popeyes across the street. I said, now I gotta go back and stop eating Popeyes again. Like I did for 2 years, and I just started up again. Now I went over there and got a damn regular hamburger from Burger King Thursday night, right? And as soon as I ate that shit, I was like, oh man, I'm fucked up. God damn.
It had gone
Oh,
bad.
huh?
Was it not properly cooked? What happened?
Nah,
It had
I
gone
don't know.
bad or what? Had it
What the
stayed
pro-
long time?
nah, it had nothing to do with it being cooked wrong. I think it's because my body's very sensitive. I know maybe I think the person who made it had the flu or something, but it wasn't like the meat itself, but it was I could tell whoever came in contact with it was sick or something, right? So as soon as I ate it, the sickness was transferred to me. It was like immediate. Immediately when I ate that shit, I was like, whoa, Jack. I was like, whoa, I'm fucked up. I said, oh man. So I said, oh man, this is gonna get worse. So I sat there and tried to meditate on that shit. So let me meditate. By Friday morning, I was really fucked. I was like, I had to go over to Memphis, Tennessee, and over to Jackson. I was sweating, and Joby called me on the phone and said, wow, you look fucked up. I said, no shit, huh? Thanks for pointing out the obvious. I said, what happened? I said, man, ate a damn hamburger from Burger King, and I'm all fucked up. I mean, I'm messed up. I got the shivers and shaking and shit. And it wasn't food poison. I know different. I've been food poisoned before. It wasn't. I knew I was coming down with just an automatic case of the flu, right? And I wasn't around anybody, but I know the difference between being food poisoned because I had been food poisoned years ago at a Wendy's. About 20 years ago, that shit almost killed my ass. It was funny part. It was a Wendy's hamburger. It was the damn tomatoes. I was in Ohio. I said, I went into the store and they said, wow, you look crazy. What's wrong? I said, call 911. I think I'm dying. I passed out. that was 20 years. Yeah, that's when I got food poisoned by the Wendy's from the fucking tomatoes. They had to pump my stomach. They had to rush me back to Columbus, Ohio, and shit and pump my stomach. Cause I got food poisoning. That was about 20 years ago. And for that time, I wouldn't eat hamburgers for years. I was so scared. I was scared to death to touch fast food. But eventually you're going to go back and do it, right? Eventually you're going to go back. And you get comfortable. But like 5 or 6 years, man, you couldn't get me to no fast food restaurant. to eat shit.
Oh.
Not chicken, not hamburgers, not nothing. That shit had me so fucked up. I was, you ever in food poison, you get dehydrated. I start shitting on myself, throwing up all your, you're dehydrated. So I'm shitting on myself and throwing up at the same time. Like, yeah, you can't
Sorry.
stop it. You can't stop it. You're going both of your holes are coming. You shitting and throwing up at the same
Back
time.
and forth.
Yeah, you're not ain't going back and forth at the same time. You shitting on yourself while you're throwing up. The same thing. And then you become what? Dehydrated, right? So that when you dehydrate, that causes death. So I had to go. So I tried to hold out. Maybe I can get over it. I said, I like going to the hospital. I said, I can't get over this. I think I'm dying. So I walked into the store and they said, whoa. Everybody said, whoa, you look crazy. What's going on? I said, I think I'm dying. Call 911. And I passed out right there. I said, call 911. Root. I was knocked the fuck out, passed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they came and got me, took me to the hospital, pumped my stomach. I had food poisoning. I was fucked up. So, but this wasn't food poisoning this time. It was just somebody was either sick or something while they were making the meat, and I knew instantly. Once I ate, I knew instantly I'm gonna be fucked up. Wow, I'm fucked up now. I'm gonna have to go through this shit. So I knew I could time I get home, that's old. They do it in America too, but it's all African. You sweat this poison out of you. So I knew I was going. Even though it's hot as shit in Florida, I came home and turned off my air conditioning because it was like 90 degrees outside, and just got underneath a bunch of blankets. I was hot as fuck and just sweated all that poison out of me. Sweated all that shit out. I was like, oh. Because Saturday, I couldn't even talk Saturday. Joby called to see how I was doing. I couldn't even talk. My voice was gone. I was mad that her ass called me. Don't call me. I ain't want to get up and get no phone. Don't even call me, goddammit. I'm fucked. Don't even call to check up on me. I don't got the phone near me. I don't want to get up and go get no phone. Shit. Shit. So
maybe they use old oil.
Huh? What kind of oil?
They keep reusing the oil.
Yeah, that sure is all. It's all bad. It's all bad for you know that, but it's convenient. We do it because it's convenient. So I got caught up again. I said, oh no. So we last so this weekend. I said, man, I'm gonna give up meat as much as I can, right? So this weekend I only ate fruit. I said, I'm gonna try to get off meat altogether. I'm not saying I can do a cold turkey. Only thing I was able to give up cold turkey was pork. Because pork is so bad, it scared me, you know. The parasites in that shit, pork is poison. Black people eat that shit's all full of worms and poisons, and you can't get that. Like you guys eat fucking all kind of crazy shit anyway. And you're not supposed to eat. You're not supposed to eat grasshoppers and ants. But the African people, we're not supposed. No, we're not supposed to be eating bugs. So we're not, because they're parasites. So we're not supposed to be eating pork. Pork has parasites in it that we cannot kill. So even though you cook it, that's why later on you guys don't know the parasites in those bugs you eating, that goes to your brain. They eat your brain. So by the time you guys are 40 and 50 years old, your memory's gonna start being fucked up because those parasites and the bugs have been eating your brain. You guys can look that up. These are facts of science. That's why you're not supposed to be eating that shit. It's nice. By the time you're 50, you ain't gonna know what nice is, because you're gonna have your brain gonna be eating the fuck up. Have your brain gonna be gone. Because the parasites ate your brain. So I knew that eating pig.
Pizza.
So I knew that eating pig had the parasites that you couldn't kill. And then when you ate pork, those parasites went straight to your brain. Look this up. Seto. Look this up. Say the parasites in pork go straight to your brain and cannot be killed. You can't kill them.
You say the parasite is what?
The The parasites in pork cannot be killed and go straight to your brain. Africans used to know we don't supposed to touch no pork. Yeah, Africans went around eating all kind of pork sausages and pork, eating mosquitoes and bugs. You ain't supposed to be eating that shit. They got parasites in that shit that eat your brain. That's why when you get older, you can't remember shit. Half your brain's gone. Motherfucking bugs, them parasites ate half your brain. And no much how you cook it, you can't kill them. You see it? What you find, Seth?
Yeah, I'm waiting to see the results here to see what they say.
When I learned about that 7, 8 years ago, I said, oh, fuck. I got to get off this pork. And I love pork. I was like, now I got to get off that shit. Yeah, I didn't get off shit because I'm this. I got shit because I had to. Like, oh, man, this shit's dangerous. What's it saying, Seto?
They are giving me different things, like they're giving me totally different things.
Well, they're trying to change things now because they don't want you to know that these parasites are killing you. Now everybody's starting to know. So now they're trying to change Google's algorithm not to show it to you anymore. Just like bugs. They want you to eat bugs. Now you're not supposed to eat bugs because they got parasites. Parasites are dangerous for human beings because they eat your brain. So it causes dementia. It causes Alzheimer's. You're not supposed to be eating fucking bugs. But as an African, you used to know that. Yeah, you're not supposed to eat no shit like that. As an African, you used to know that. That means you've fallen so far in consciousness and knowledge that you don't even know that that's wrong. That shit is full of parasites. Bugs are full of parasites. Seto, you can't eat that shit. We can't eat bugs, Seto. It's full of parasites. It causes death. But as an African, you're supposed to been knew that. That's how far we fallen in knowledge. That you sitting there thinking it's okay to eat a fucking plate full of mosquitoes and ants and shit. Like, what? That's how far you fallen in knowledge. That's how backwards we become. You can't, what? You insane? You can't eat that shit. You eat a mouthful of poison. Literally. You eat a mouthful of poison there. Literally. Not my opinion. That's a fact. Because insects have parasites. That shit's all in your body. And it goes straight to your brain. And parasites eat your brain. So that causes you to have dementia and Alzheimer's later. Never heard that about lamb. I don't know if lamb has parasites. You gotta look it up. I said ham. I said pork. Probably so you guys see. I know that's not lamb right there, Michelle. That's the bugs that Maria and Seto eat. Those are ants and ants and grasshoppers and shit that you know you're not supposed to be eating. You know, you look at that as an African, you're supposed to know you can't eat that shit there. That's how far Africans have fallen in knowledge. You couldn't get no African to eat no shit like that 500 years ago. You laughing, what? You don't get out of here, you insane. That's how far the intellect has fallen African since these Europeans got control of it. And you don't even know you're not supposed to be eating mosquitoes and fucking goddamn bugs and shit. No, that's low vibrational shit. You're not supposed to be eating that shit. Let's see if they hear this. Let me do this, Seto. Say, do bugs have parasites? Do bugs carry parasites? That's all. They all do. I'm just gonna I don't want them to hide it. Let's say general term. Do bugs carry parasites? If you be general, they try to hide it now because they want you to eat bugs now. Tell you how let's eat bugs so we can kill these people.
They say that certain, yes, they say yes, certain bugs carry parasites.
It's not certain. It's all of them. They're not supposed to eat bugs because they have parasites. Parasites kill the body, poison the body, guys. So when you're eating that shit right there, you're killing yourself literally because of your ignorance. Africans didn't eat bugs, okay? There's some new shit you did within the last 100 years. Whenever you start doing this goofy shit here. Africans knew you couldn't eat bugs. They have parasites. They cause death. That's why your birth rate is your death rate, your life expectancy rate is 60 and 55 in Africa because you eating shit like this. Africa knew he couldn't eat this shit here. These are parasites. You can't be ingesting that shit there. You're literally killing yourself. Not my exaggeration. That's what you're doing. Parasites kill you. Okay? That's what they do. You as a human being, now white people can have parasites in their body because they're abnormal people. You being African, you can't. You're a Ferrari. Their bodies are fucked up. Your body's a top notch. So you can't be doing that shit. You can't be like, oh, I'll just eat a bunch of bugs and I'll be okay. No, the hell you won't. 20, 30 years, half your brain is fucking eaten up. Take time for bugs to eat your brain, but they eat your brain. Might take 30 years. By the time you're 55, you're like, God, hey, Seto. You're like, is my name Seto? Yeah, Seto, that's you. I don't know. I don't even know where the hell I'm at. In Kampala, in Uganda. What's Uganda? Half your brain is fucking eaten up by parasites. Every goddamn brain is eaten up. That's what happens. Yeah, guys. That's this common sense shit you used to know. Ignorance level done got so high in Africa, it's crazy. Imagine feeding your children that shit. You don't know no better no more. Feeding your kids parasites and shit. Yes, this is nice. We're sitting there eating a bunch of fucking ants and fucking grasshoppers. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? Are you out of your African fucking mind? Yes, you are. You're definitely out of your African fucking mind. Oh, excuse me, guys. Africans look at that big ass plate, that damn Central Shore. That's a big old plate of death. That sure looks delicious. What? You out of your fucking mind? That motherfucking shit eat half your brain up. Your brain, motherfucker sitting there, 55, half your brain is gone. Don't even know you. You know, half your brain is gone, right? I don't know. Yeah, half your fucking brain is gone. You goddamn moron. I didn't know that. Half your goddamn brain is gone. My brain is gone. They took my brain away. because they kept eating ants and grasshoppers. That's some shit you get somebody. That's some shit you get like somebody that when you about to torture them. Not that's a torture meal. Like Africans, yeah, no, that's not torture for us. You mean tell me you're gonna torture us with goddamn grasshoppers and ants? Shit, they don't know what they doing. That ain't no torture for us. That shit. Go sit here and eat the hell out that shit there. They say, goddamn, we thought we were torturing these niggas. They eating it happily. Shit. Goddamn, we were trying to torture them. Yeah, we're gonna torture you bastards to make you talk. We're gonna give you ants and mosquitoes, ants and grasshoppers.
You're having those imaginations. That people do the things here.
Yeah.
But
People
you know
got
that there are a lot of things that some people eat and other people find weird.
not that it's weird. Of course, weird. Some things are just dangerous. You're not supposed to eat. As a human being, as an African person, some things we're not supposed to be eating, Maria, because of our bodies. We can't eat a European diet. We can't be eating bugs because we're the closest thing to gods. So our bodies have got to be high octane. You know, white person can eat all kinds of shit because their bodies are not like ours. Your body's closer to God, so you got to be godly. You can't be eating shit that's on the ground and bug form and all that kind of shit because it also lowers your vibration. You're supposed to be God. You're the closest thing to the creator. You think the creator of the universe is fucking around eating bugs and shit?
You make me so bad.
I'm not making you bad. I'm making you reason. Like, yeah, okay, that's right. Your body's highly octane, especially the black woman. Black woman's body's the closest thing to God on the earth. That's another fact. Like, we must be eating no fucking bugs. You crazy? She's the mitochondrial to everything. She's the beginning of everything. I know she's gonna be eating bugs. Crazy. So, but these things we used to know. That's how far the ignorance has fallen in Africa. The ignorance level is crazy. Instead of saying, yeah, that's nice. We'll sit there and eat a bunch of ants and shit. Like, what? You out of your fucking mind? Yeah, it's nice with the ants. What? That shit's eating your brain up, man. You're supposed to know not to eat bugs, Seto. As a human being, Seto, you can't eat bugs. No matter how nice it is. No matter how nice you said, you can't eat bugs, Seto. I'm sorry. You can't sit around and be fucking around eating bugs, Seto. I'm sorry.
How about beef?
Can't be you can eat their honey. You can't eat it. You can't be start eating bees either. You can eat their honey. What? Who the fuck is sitting around eating bees?
I mean like beef, like stop. I mean like beef or
Oh, beef. Yeah, well, yeah, we're supposed to eat not much. We're not supposed to. We're omnivores. The African diet is supposed to be mostly spiritual. We're supposed to have mostly fruits and vegetables. Little meat as possible. That protein thing is a lie. We're supposed to have mostly fruits and vegetables and water. A little bit of meat if you need it, but barely little bit for us because we're not supposed to be eating blood of animals. That causes pus. We're not supposed to be eating animal blood, animal flesh. As African people, we're above that. We're not supposed to be eating animal flesh because it causes pus. You know, we're full of pus and blood. We're not supposed to be eating blood. Okay, blood and pus. That's what meat is. Blood and pus. We're not
Ugh.
supposed to be eating. That's what it is. So it's just one step. It may be better to eat an insect, but just barely. Okay. But I'm a meatist. I'm trying to get out the meat myself. Slowly but surely, I'm getting rid of all that fucking meat. Slowly, I'm getting rid of that shit. Like I finally seen the light. Ain't been this sick in a long time, Jack. They say it's got me to turn to Jesus. That's my Jesus moment. you know, you know. I got rid of the pork, so why can't I get rid of the rest of the meat? I'm gonna have to get rid of the chicken, get rid of all this shit, all this
So you
damn meat.
used to eat pork.
Huh?
You used to eat pork?
Of course, I was like any American. About 7 years ago, I knew to start eating your brain. I started learning more about how bad it was. Cause I didn't ever know how bad it was. Of course, I love pork. I'm like, oh man, that shit delicious. I'm like you guys with them damn grasshoppers and ants. I love pork. Love that shit, Marie. I could never do without it. Loved it.
Wow.
And I seen how bad it was. I seen how it eats your brain up, cause you have dementia off. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. And the knowledge of that scared me so much, I went cold turkey. I never ate pork again in 7 years. I left that shit alone immediately. The
Wow.
evidence of that shit was so overwhelming. I was like, no, no more bacon, no more ham, no more none of that shit. Because the parasites you can't kill. Parasites is in pork. You can't kill them. You'll cook the meat. The meat might be cooked, but the parasites are still alive. That's why you use the bathroom. You'll see. Use the bathroom. You'll see the parasites. Every now and then you shit them out. It says black people, we're not supposed to have parasites in our bodies. White people do. They have them in their guts, worms, tapeworms, and all that shit. We're not supposed to have worms and shit all in our bodies. They are, not us. Their bodies are completely different than ours. Not to have. They need tapeworms and all that other shit. We're not going to have worms and all these parasites in our fucking system. That's dangerous for African people. White people have worms and white people are full of fucking worms and shit. That's normal for them because they're different than us. They have bodies like an animal, not us. We can't be eating that shit. They have all kind of worms in their body. Not African people, not us. We use the bathroom, especially in cooking, see all that shit. All the worms coming out of your poop. Like, oh shit. All that shit been living inside you. Like, oh man, this ain't good. Uh-oh. I lost both of them other day. Like, this ain't no good. All fucked up. So, shit. You gotta know. Oh, that's common sense. I can read more. Hickory and apple smoked bacon is like candy. Real. Well, I miss. See, yeah, you remember? Oh man, I still miss it. I go past when I smell some damn ham cooking like that, but stuff. I'm like, God damn, that shit smells so good. I've been wanting to have a piece of that shit so bad, jibber jabber, you just don't know. And I still, they're like, oh no, I still fiend for that shit. I think the hardest thing for me to be is to give up the chicken. I might just keep. I can give up the beef. Yeah, but you know, just be careful about that shit. Shit. My ass is fucked up this weekend, boy. God damn. Woo-wee. I'm like, nah, I'm done with all meat. I was so fucked up that shit. They said, I'm done with all goddamn meat. I'm done with all this meat shit. This meat shit is done. But I think I can slowly get with beef. Almost gonna be hard for me is chicken. I think beef I can give up like the same way I gave up ham. Even though I still crave it and want it, I can still just say, nah, I'm not gonna fuck with it. Actually, real hard for me is gonna be, like I said, chicken. But you know, only part when you're eating fruits, I never feel satisfied when I'm fucking around with fruits. I always feel like I'm eating, but I'm never full. Never eat all them damn fruits. You always feel, it keeps your ass running to the bathroom all the keep your ass regular. Your ass running to the bathroom all the time. Man, after being in the covers, I was shitting all day, 2 days. God damn. I stayed on the goddamn toilet. Shit. I said, oh no, here we go again. Oh no. Sweet Jesus, help me. Here we go again. Oh no, sweet Jesus. Oh no. Here we go again. My God damn. This shit kept me on. I'm all sick. I'm shitting. I'm shitting every goddamn 20 minutes, eating that fucking fruit. God damn. I ain't doing no shit. I'm all fucked up. It's fucked up. I'm like that motherfucker in our life. I can't get right. I just can't get right. Fuck, ain't no show. So yeah, I just try to do a show Sunday, man. Fuck all that. I ain't ready to do no show at all this week. Fuck, I'm fucked up. Can't get right. Run around shitting every 20 minutes and shit. Trying to do a show and I'm shitting on myself. Nah, I'm fucked up. It just is what it is. Shit. God damn. I probably, the fruit, cantaloupes, peaches, plums, cantaloupes, all kind of milk, honeydew milk. Eat all that shit, man. I don't never feel full. I know it's the craving or something. I always feel without meat, I don't feel like I ate no fucking meal. It's our propaganda. Eat all that shit. Eat all that fruit. I'm like, damn, my stomach feel like it's empty as shit. Because every 20 minutes I was shitting that shit out. Like, oh, man. Here we go again. You got to get out underneath all them damn blankets and shit. Oh, man. Here we go again with this shit. Y'all know when you're sick, you're all fucked up. You got to get your ass up because you don't know if that's a fart or that's real shit come out. You got to get up just to be sure you ain't trying to shit on yourself. I got to get up. You're like, God damn. Crawl back under the blankets, eat you some fruit again. Next thing you know, you fucked up again. Ah, I got my stomach. Ah, God damn. Here we go again with this shit. Soaking all that shit out my body, my voice came back. I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. I don't think they're gonna come back. I think that it is fried for the day. Came back in 10 minutes. So I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. I'll see you guys later on the night with Jovi on the Africa Today show, guys. Say peace, much love, and I'm out.